Have you ever read a book where the author spends pages and pages explaining the world and the character's backstory and the magic system before anything ever actually happens? If you have, you might have noticed that today's books don't really do that anymore. Exposition or long explanations or backstory seem to be disappearing, but why? And is that actually a good thing? In today's video, I am talking about the death of exposition. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Nancy Basile, a mystery writer. My latest book, Bright Girl, is now available, and you can check it out by using the links in the description below. Now, what is exposition? In the classic story arc, exposition is the text that comes before the inciting incident, the part of the book that kicks off the whole story. And in the past, exposition took a really long time. It explains things like setting, history, or character backgrounds. Older novels, especially classic fantasy novels, used to take entire chapters to do this. Think Lord of the Rings. Tolkien would pause the story to describe the history of a sword for 2 pages. That's just how books were written. But today's readers, they don't have the patience for that. Modern storytelling has shifted to be faster paced and more immersive. And TikTok and short form videos have led to what I like to call the death of exposition. Let's break it down. Faster paced storytelling. Readers expect stories to move quickly. With the rise of bingeable TV shows, social media, and even fast-paced books like thrillers and romance, long explanations just don't hold a reader's attention anymore. In fact, before I wrote my first book, I took a class online and I submitted my first chapter, and they point blank told me that I needed to kick off my mystery with the murder, which in the past would have been considered the inciting incident, which shouldn't come for a while. But today's readers, they want to know what's happening right now. So I had to cut all the exposition and just kick it off with the murder and figure out how to explain everything as I went. Another reason for the death of exposition, writers are told to show, don't tell. Instead of dumping backstory, authors now weave details into dialogue and action and character interactions. A great example is The Hunger Games. We don't get pages and pages of world building up front. Instead, we learn about District 12 through Katniss's actions and observations and how she interacts with her mom and her sister and goes about her day. Another reason that I sort of alluded to before is that reader expectations have changed. Modern readers want to experience the story as it unfolds. They prefer to learn things naturally rather than be handed a history lesson. Compare A Game of Thrones, the first book in the Song of Fire and Ice series, to Tolkien's The Silmarillion. Both are rich in lore, but George R.R. Martin reveals his world gradually through character interactions rather than long, dense pages of exposition. Are there downsides to losing all this exposition up front? Is it entirely a good thing? Not always, but sometimes. Cutting too much up front can leave readers confused or feeling disconnected from the world. For instance, a lot of today's fantasy novels, for better or worse, jump right into the story and right into the action. Take Fourth Wing, for example. It throws you straight into the action on conscription day, but you might feel lost because the world building wasn't explained up front. So while fast pace works for a lot of people, it might not work for others. I confess that today's fantasy novels do take a bit of effort because you do jump in feet first. And Fourth Wing was a little intimidating to me at first, and I did feel a little disoriented. But Rebecca Yarros does a great job of catching you up as Violet's day goes on. Now, on the flip side, The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake embraces a more intellectual style with lots of explanation. Some readers loved the depth, while others felt it slowed the story down. It's all about balance. So, how do today's authors handle all this exposition if they're not laying it out up front? Here are a few techniques that I've kind of mentioned already. First up, drip feeding information. Instead of dumping everything at once, you reveal details gradually. Think Six of Crows. We learn about the world as the main characters interact with each other and the other characters in the shady businesses, on the street, etc. You can also use dialogue. Dialogue is a fantastic way to sneak in exposition. One character can tell another character their backstory when they're getting to know each other, or good friends can refer to past incidents and give a good explanation for those incidents to catch the characters up. In Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, the characters use conversations as a way to explain the social hierarchy without it feeling like a lecture. And then finally, there's the immersive world building. Books like Iron Flame and Legendborn do a great job dropping readers into a rich world and letting them figure it out as they go. This makes the learning process feel natural, like you're going on the journey with the character, instead of, again, getting a lecture. So, is exposition dead? Not entirely, but the way it's being written into stories has definitely changed. Today's books are more immersive and faster paced to keep up with today's readers and to keep them interested and engaged. And personally, I think that makes for a better reading experience. So tell me in the comments how you think expositions should be handled. Do you prefer explanations up front, or do you like having it drip fed or in conversations or in the immersive world building? If you're a new author and you're trying to figure out how to drip feed that exposition, a good way to do that is as part of an outline. And there are a lot of great writing apps out there that can help you with those outlines, with templates or built-in outlines depending on your genre. And I have a video right here that talks about the best writing apps to get you started. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up so other readers and writers can find it, and then subscribe because you'll get more book content just like this.